Good morning, everybody. Today's story is titled The Gift of the Crocodile, a Cinderella story, and it's written by Judy. In the Spice Islands, where clove and nutmeg trees grow, a girl named Damora lived a long time ago. Damora's mother taught her to kindle a fire and cook, to tend and harvest rice plants, and to dance the graceful dances of their ancestors. There's the Spice Islands. There's Damora and her mother. There came a time when Damora's mother grew weak, and she knew she would not live much longer. So she called the girl to her bedside and reminded her to respect all wild creatures, for they would help her and comfort her. Later, when Damora missed her mother, she would talk to the lorikeet and the little green parrot who came to perch on the nutmeg trees. There's her little friends. A widow who lived in their village took a liking to Damora's father. She made a pretty doll for the girl. "Would you like this?" she asked. Yes, Damora wanted the doll more than anything she had ever seen. "You may have it," said the woman, if you tell your father that he should marry me." Damora hugged the doll and hurried home. "Please," she begged, "will you marry the neighbor woman? She is so nice." "We have a good enough life," her father said. But Damora insisted, and finally he agreed to marry. The stepmother came to their home with a daughter of her own. First, the two of them were very kind to Damora, but soon enough they made her their servant. Every morning Damora rose before dawn, kindled the fire, and cooked. Then she tidied the house and pulled weeds from the rice field. When the lorikeet and the little green parrot came to talk to Damora, the stepmother shooed them away. At night, Damora slept on the floor amid the cold ashes of the hearth and cried because she had traded all her happiness away for a doll. And there's when they got married. And there's poor Damora doing all her work. One day, as Damora knelt by the river, washing the family's clothes, the current swept away her old, ragged sarong. A sarong is a kind of dress. Damora was afraid to return home without it, and she began to cry. Then she remembered her mother's advice. "Creatures of the wild, help me," she called out. Slowly, an ancient crocodile arose from the river and stepped onto the rocks. Damora showed no fear. "Good morning, grandmother," she said to the crocodile. "It was wise of you to call me grandmother," the crocodile replied, "for if you had not, I might have eaten you. Tell me, why are you crying?" Here's the crocodile. "My sarong has disappeared in the river," Damora told her. "I will get it for you if you watch my little one," the crocodile said. Damora saw a tiny crocodile in the water. She lifted it up, but it began to bite her with its sharp teeth. She found a soft twig for it to chew, and then she rocked it gently and sang, "Rock-a-bye, little baby crocodile, you smell like..." Damora almost said what the baby really smelled like, but she remembered her mother's words and sang, "Rock-a-bye, little baby crocodile, you smell sweet, just like a nutmeg tree." Grandmother Crocodile splashed out of the water, holding in her mouth a silver sarong that sparkled like the night sky. "Oh, that is not my sarong," Damora said. "Mine is old and torn." "But this is the one you deserve," the crocodile told her. "Take it and come see me again if you ever need anything." When the stepmother saw Damora's beautiful sarong, she took it away and forced the girl to tell how she got it. The next morning, her own daughter went to the river. She threw an old rag into the current and pretended to cry. Up rose the ancient crocodile. "Good morning, grandmother," said the stepsister, for Damora warned her to be polite. "It's a good thing you called me grandmother, otherwise I may have eaten you. Tell me, why are you crying?" "I was washing clothes," the stepsister lied. "My sarong floated away and I can't seem to find it anywhere." "I will get it for you," said the crocodile. "Just watch my little one while I'm gone." The stepsister picked up the baby crocodile, and when it bit her with its sharp teeth, she spanked it and sang, "Shut your mouth, stinky crocodile, you smell like a garbage pile." Was she kind? Oh boy. Grandmother Crocodile appeared carrying a sparkly silver cloth. "Is this your sarong?" she asked. "Give it to me," the girl shouted. She grabbed it and wrapped it around her waist. It instantly became a dirty, filthy rag swarming with bugs. The girl tried to pull it off, but it stuck to her like glue. Home she ran, howling and weeping. You think she learned her lesson? A year went by. Several years went by. One day, the houses in the village buzzed with excitement, for the prince had invited all the young women to dance at the palace. He would choose the loveliest as his bride. Everyone's very excited. "Stepmother, may I wear my silver sarong?" Damora asked. "As if a prince would ever look at a dirty thing like you. Your sister shall wear the silver dress. You stay here and clean up the house." When the two of them had gone, Damora hurried to the river. "Grandmother, grandmother," she called. "What is it, child?" "I want so much to go to the palace and dance for the prince, but my stepmother made me stay home. Even if I could go, I have nothing to wear." The crocodile sank into the water and soon reappeared with a sarong and a blouse of pure gold and slippers to match. "Leave the palace as soon as the first cock crows, and remember to return everything to me before you go home." Then a shining carriage appeared, pulled by a white horse. Damora climbed up, took the reins, and before she could draw a breath, she found herself at the palace gates. Everyone turned and stared at her. They whispered that surely she must be a princess from across the sea. And when the prince saw her dance, using the steps her mother had taught her, he knew that she would be his bride. She looks beautiful. Damora wished the night would never end, but as soon as she heard the rooster crow, she ran to her carriage with the prince at her heels. He tried to climb up after her, but she pushed him away. As he fell back, he caught hold of one of her golden slippers. "I am sorry," Damora told Grandmother Crocodile when she reached the river. "I have lost a slipper." "You needn't be sorry. That one slipper will make you a princess." The morning. There they are. You see them? They're very tiny. The next morning, a messenger arrived at Damora's village, asking that all young women come at once, for the prince had vowed to find and marry the young woman whom the slipper fit. Damora, dressed in rags, went to the palace with the others. The prince tried the slipper on each one, but always said it was too small. At last he came to Damora. "You needn't try it on her," said the stepsister. "She is only my servant." But the slipper fairly flew onto Damora's foot. It fit perfectly. Her sister doesn't look happy. "This girl is so shabby," said the prince's counselor. "Even though the slipper fits, you don't have to marry her. Rich or poor, she is my choice." Damora ran to the river to ask Grandmother Crocodile for her golden clothes and carriage, and when she reappeared, she was as beautiful as she had been the evening before. The wedding celebration was the most splendid ever seen, and afterward Damora lived in the palace as a princess should. Damora's stepmother and stepsister were eaten up with jealousy. A few days after the wedding, they arrived saying sweetly, "We are so sorry for the way we treated you, Damora. Let's take a boat ride on the river and we can become friends again." I see trouble coming. You think she should go with them? Damora agreed to go, for she thought they had changed their ways. And when the boat reached the middle of the river, they pushed her over into the water. And before she could draw a breath, she was swallowed by a crocodile. The two women paddled back to shore and ran to the palace, saying, "Damora has fallen into the river and a crocodile has swallowed her." They hoped that the prince would soon forget her and marry the stepsisters. Can you see crocodiles in the water? Think they're watching her? I think all the creatures are watching. The prince went to the great riverbed and shouted, "Grandmother, grandmother!" The great creature appeared and swam toward him. "Why have you come here?" she asked. "Princess Damora has been eaten by a crocodile," he cried. Grandmother Crocodile thrashed her tail in anger. She called together all her river children and asked, "Which one have you dared to eat my precious grandchild?" There was a long silence, and then a young crocodile confessed, "It was me. I did it." "Spit her out right now," commanded the Grandmother Crocodile. She licked Damora's face and brought her back to life. "None of you shall ever touch Damora again, or her husband, or their children," she commanded. "But if you see her stepmother or stepsister, you must eat them at once." Yikes. Pays to be nice. The stepmother and the stepsisters were hiding nearby when they heard Grandmother Crocodile's words, and they fled into the darkest part of the forest and were never seen again. Damora and her prince returned to the palace, where they lived for many years in great splendor and great happiness. Their children splashed in the river, talked to the lorikeet and the little green parrot, and played in the shade of the clove and nutmeg trees. Looks like they were very happy. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story. Let's see if we can take a look here. What was her name, the girl's name in the story? Damora. Was there a fairy godmother in this story? I think there was a fairy crocodile. Grandmother Crocodile was the one that took care of her and gave her the beautiful dress. Was there a stepmother? Yes, there was. And were there one or two stepsisters? Only one this time. She had a beautiful dress. Do you remember what it was called? It's called a sarong. A little different than this dress. Did she go to the palace in a coach? A golden coach. Was it a pumpkin coach? Do you remember how many horses pulled the coach? Just one white horse. Was there a slipper? It was a golden slipper. And was there a prince? Yes, there was. And did they live happily ever after in the shade of the clove and nutmeg trees? Yes, they did, with their children. I hope you enjoy this very different version of Cinderella's story, and I'll be back tomorrow with another version.